Hey, good morning. Actually, it will be morning pretty soon. Good evening, everyone. Feels like morning. I've been here all day. I've lost track of time. Welcome to the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. We have a lot to get into tonight. If you've switched over, we appreciate it. Steelers come away with a win on the road, 23-18. They beat Vegas. And the defense came up with some big plays, but the offense got on track. We even saw a first-quarter touchdown. That's going to be our #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Here to talk about that game that just ended is your panel tonight. We have Chris Mueller from the PM team, 93.7 The Fan. To the left, in the middle is Jeff Hathhorn. Did a great job with the play-by-play for Pitt last night. He's a master of all trades because he does it all at 93.7 The Fan. And Will Graves from the Associated Press.
Shout out to the Dunks. Let's go. Give me your hate.
All self-promotional. Another AP staffer who's all about self-promotion. Not just the facts, not Sergeant Joe Friday. We got Sergeant Graves here just talking shoes.
That's the third straight week.
These are all burned, by the way.
All right, let's talk about it. First quarter, we saw a touchdown, Jeff Hathhorn. We also saw an offense that actually had some rhythm, pace, some good scheme to it, 2 touchdown passes. So your take on #1, Kenny Pickett, and #2, does this kind of silence the Matt Canada haters out there for a little bit?
Yeah, who would have thought on those first 2 3-and-outs that we'd see like 4 scoring drives in the next 5, and one was the end of the half. I mean, it was solid. It wasn't Kansas City. It wasn't anything that's going to make you jump for joy. You've got the best offense in the league, but it was signs of progress. And what we continue to see this year, one thing you have to credit them is we are starting to see those splash plays that we all asked for last year.
Right. 72 yards last week, and then
71 and 72. So next week there'll be a 73-yarder, I guess, against Houston. It's a 7 out of 10 performance, and probably by
it's the Raiders too.
Against the worst rush defense in the league, I think, or one of the worst. They still were running the ball with marginal effectiveness. So that's one thing. I'm like, I'm not going to get too high and mighty about this. I feel like we have to grade them, or we choose to grade them on a curve. Average NFL offense puts up 23 points and scuffles at the end of the game to really put it away aggressively. I think we're criticizing them, but this is the first time Pickett's thrown for over 200 yards without a pick in a win, and also the first time in his career he's ever hit 2 touchdowns in a game. Right. So think about the baby steps we've really got to be talking about here when those are the stats that we're actually using. It was a good performance, but it could have been a lot better by them, top to bottom.
I guess I'll be positive here. The 6-play drive for the last touchdown, that was the best 6-play sequence in terms of execution and play call. That was Matt Canada 2016.
It's the first time he looked like a sequencer.
I mean, it looked like, from the delayed screen to Warren, and obviously the touchdown, the play action to Pickens on the first play. That is progress. To y'all's point, I mean, look, it's not the 49ers, it's not the Browns, but you can only play on your schedule. A confidence builder. You would have liked to see them close it out without having to punt late, but look, they got it done. And look, this is like last year with maybe a step forward. I've said for months, last year they were designed to win games 20-17. Now they're designed to win games 24-17, and that's basically what we saw tonight. And so a step forward, but not a big one.
All right, Chris, you mentioned the run game, and it was sporadic. I think Jaylen Warren, every time he gets in there, he seems to make something out of nothing. I know it was tough yards for Najee Harris, but again, I would expect more from a guy who is, kind of the focal point of their run game. It's more of a 50-50 split than it's been before. Do you expect that to continue between those two?
Yeah, I do expect it to continue. Warren was out there for crucial downs very late in that game when they were trying to put it away. There was a Harris run on that last sequence that drove me nuts. I think they had about as jumbo of a package in as you could go with, and a hole opened up over center and right guard. But what did Najee do? Is the play where the corner came off the edge and tackled him. That corner, if you're looking at it from the regular traditional view, we get, he blew up that play. No, he didn't. Najee Harris could have taken that ball and run to the right and would have had 3 or 4 yards maybe. I need to see more of that decisiveness and not him trying to make somebody look bad, in space. That's not his game. And I think that if he continues to do this, Jaylen Warren's going to continue to get more touches. They look really quick here, Jeff. They look very basically like a more explosive team when 30's out there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But Najee ran hard. He got some key yards. He had that 17-yard drive on the drive that Will was discussing in that last comment. I mean, it's not perfect. There are things about Najee I wish were better. But the effort was there, and I tell you what, the best thing about Jaylen was picking up Max Crosby on that. It wasn't a blitz, it was a stunt, and then that allowed for the 71-yard touchdown.
And let's remember, this is a guy that had trouble holding on to the ball early in his rookie season, and he got carries late in a one-score game. So I think that shows the trust. And he earns it, too. I mean, he is, to Jeff's point, I mean, he is a willing pass blocker. Najee is not as effective that it's just not a tool that Najee has that Jalen does. So I still, to y'all's point, like, just run up, just get your big dudes and let the big dude behind them run as fast as he can in a straight line. Like him, he is not Lev. And you saw a couple times he had it was almost like he was trying to do that Le'Veon thing where he was going to put his hand on, on like Ramon's back and see what happens. You can't do that. This line isn't that good. He needs to run fast.
He's not that
There's
good either.
A lot of teams
Correct.
use two backs. What they have to do is forget who was drafted where and let those guys.
Oh man,
go
that's
back
how.
and forth.
But that's how it goes.
Jeff,
though,
but
man.
that's what they
Jeff, while we're wishing, I'd like a pony.
You do. You work with him. Weekly.
No, I'd like an actual pony if we're all making wishes, perhaps a horse, that they would just treat these guys like the,
You worked with the horses as well.
Yeah, you know what?
You wanna
now I'm
just
having
go down the line?
PTSD, Yes. No, I mean, I do think overall.
Stamp it.
Oh, God, no, please don't. I think overall, my takeaway from this game still is, like, they won. They beat a team that I don't think is a very good team. It's a very one-dimensional team. If Garoppolo gets cooking, maybe they can win games. But it does feel like it's almost torturous to try to, like, I'm extracting every ounce of positives.
They threw to the tight ends.
Right.
Fryermuth got involved. There was more of a connection.
They didn't
with
throw to
Pickens.
Allen Robinson in the end zone, which maybe an interested bettor would have liked that they do, but they did look to him on a big third down when they did get one at the end of the game. I think, to sum this up real quick, Bob, I think the Raiders showed you everything you need to know about how the rest of the league still views them when they kick that field goal to make it 23-18. I think that's a bet. We don't think you're good enough on that side of the ball to get 2 first downs and put this game away. For all intents and purposes, they did, so they proved them wrong. But going into it, that's how Vegas felt.
And that was the same thing on the 4th and 1 call early in the game too.
Right.
That's like, we don't care if you get the ball to 30 because
Right.
you're not going to do anything.
Exactly.
So there was progress. And to Chris's point, I think, yeah, they're the Raiders. They're not and everything looks hard.
more you make
when
teams
you watch
pay-
Miami and Kansas City and Buffalo and
Oh,
the
those
teams
are
you're
big
trying,
games.
when everything looks so easy for them,
Right.
it still looks really hard most of the time for
It's
these
worth mentioning it's been, 25 years since they beat Vegas or beat the Raiders out
Yep.
there. There's always something goofy. And they
The
have to
X-ray
at least get a win out there.
The X-ray machines I've heard in this place are terrific, so there was no worry about
They
that.
put it in the big eye. They flash it up on the eye across the street.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about how the defense fared, some of the guys who made plays tonight. We'll get into that. Without Cam Hayward, they still won a game, and they did a pretty good job on Josh Jacobs, who's really having a hard time ever since he came back, ended his holdout. We'll get into that and more as we continue right here live. It's the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown on KDKA.
#1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran. Go one better.